It is just a beautiful night in downtown Cincinnati and a crowd rolling in the Great American Ballpark. For the opening game of this three-game series between the Brewers and the Reds, and of course it kicks off the opening of a 9-game homestand. And as Chris so eloquently put it moments ago, today we celebrate Memorial Day. There is a very high cost for freedom, and we remember those who gave their lives for the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. Thank you all for having served this country. With Chris Welsh, I'm Tom Brenneman. Great to have you with us back at the ballpark here tonight. And obviously it's time for the Reds to get going, and they're playing a team that comes in red hot in the Brewers, and two big bats in a lineup for each team tonight, and Jay Bruce and Ryan Braun.
Well, you're not kidding about that. Young sluggers who are really feeling it right now. Jay Bruce, boy, where would the Reds be without Jay Bruce right now? During the month of May, you see what he has done. He began the season kind of slow, but overall in the month of May, 11 home runs, a .330 batting average. He leads the National League in home runs, Jay Bruce does, and this guy is on fire. It seems like every time a pitcher makes a mistake, Bruce is able to launch it out of the ballpark. And Ryan Braun, a right-handed slugger that the Milwaukee Brewers run into town, where you've seen him for many years. This guy is a legit power hitter. He's hitting .320. He's got 13 stolen bases this year to go along with those 12 runs batted in and 38 runs batted in overall, or 12 homers. But overall, Ryan Braun's a really good high fastball hitter. Travis Wood's going to have to make sure that he's able to use that changeup effectively to keep Braun off of that power stroke that he's so able to use, especially of late.
On the mound, Travis Wood against Chris Norrison. We'll talk about that duo in a moment. And what about the rest of tonight? Let's check in with Tim Hedrick.
Don't you love Memorial Day? People walking over from the Taste of Cincinnati and going to the Reds game. And it's hot, hot, hot. Oh, yeah. First pitch, 89. Halfway home, 85. Throw me the heater. Go ahead. Throw me the heater. Woo! It's Memorial Day. I'm going to crank one out of here. Yeah, doggy. Boom! Happy Memorial Day, everybody. Woo!
And Tim, happy Memorial Day to you as well. Travis Wood on the mound tonight for the Reds.
It's been kind of 2 seasons already for Travis Wood. One in the month of April and one in the month of May. 11 starts overall, a 3-3 record. He has pitched against the Brewers. That was April the 2nd. 7 innings of 4-hit baseball. The Brewers haven't hit him very much, but they have not seen him a whole lot either. He will face another left-hander, Chris Narveson. These guys pitch different styles. Narveson is really all change-ups and curveballs, off-speed pitches. He strikes out a lot of batters. He's very stingy with the home run. He's only given up 4 of them on the year. And you've got Travis Wood, who throws a pretty good fastball and a straight changeup. So a couple of southpaws on the line tonight to match up on Memorial Day.
Memorial Day it is. Reds and the Brewers, first of 3. Some big series for Dusty Baker's team. First pitch. Agents are there when you need them. Find an agent or get a quote at statefarm.com. By your local Ford dealer. Ford, drive one. By the Regional Tourism Network. Book your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Skyline. Whenever you're feeling good and hungry, it's Skyline time. Bob Castellini, principal owner of the Reds, shaking some hands and saying hello to some of the youngsters as part of the pregame ceremonies on this Memorial Day today. And a couple of teams headed in opposite directions, at least going into this series. Our Farmers Insurance report card. The Brewers an 8-1 homestand. Their only loss, 1 game against the Giants. And they went from 3rd to 2nd. And you know about the Reds road trip. Those 1-run games, those are heartbreakers. But nothing you can do about any of that now.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, the Milwaukee Brewers have also gone through a 2-8 road trip before so far this year, and they've bounced back and they've played very good baseball of late. Reds ought to be able to catch fire here at home and put some runs up on the board here at Great American Ballpark. Now that the weather is warm, the ball ought to be flying, and it's ought to really help this lineup.
Well, they're waiting for some of the fans to get into the dugout area. Brewers starting lineup has Ricky Weeks, Corey Hart, Ryan Braun. Prince Fielder in the cleanup spot. Casey McGee at 3rd. Jonathan Lucroy catching. Unieski Betancourt at short. Carlos Gomez in center. Chris Narveson on the mound. Travis Wood at 3-3, making his 12th start. Ricky Weeks digs in. And the first pitch is outside, ball one. We're underway. See the overall season numbers for Travis Wood here in 2011. Coming off a good start against Philadelphia. 6 innings, allowed 3 runs. And he'll retire Weeks to begin the game here tonight. In foul ground, lots of room for Joey Votto, 1 out. Take a look at the Reds defensively. Presented by Ford. Chris Heisey in place of Drew Stubbs in center. Johnny in left, Jay Bruce in right. Roland, Giannis, Phillips, Votto third to first, and a battery of Wood and Ryan Hannigan. That'll bring Corey Hart to the plate. The Reds have played Milwaukee very well this year. Swept them 3 in a row, of course, to begin the season right here in Cincinnati. And then beat them 2 out of 3 in Milwaukee. The first series, the Brewers did not have Corey Hart. Playing in his 26th game tonight, 4 home runs, 3 of them came in 1 game last week. He has 10 runs batted in. 1-1 to Hart. Cardinals have lost already today, 7-3 to Madison Bumgarner and the San Francisco Giants. Milwaukee just got finished kicking around the Giants over the weekend at Miller Park. What a homestand it was for Milwaukee. 8-1. Swept Colorado 3, did the same to Washington, and beat the Giants 2 out of 3, including a shutout yesterday. For whatever reason, and this is a very good Milwaukee team, and we know this is a very good hitter's park, but they have really struggled here in Cincinnati over the last couple of years. They've lost 5 in a row to the Reds here, and in the last 12 games they have played at Great American Ballpark, they have 1 lone win. But as we mentioned, they come in tonight red hot, and the Reds are trying to regroup. Still 1-2 to Hart. Take a look at the Honda standings in the National League Central. Cardinals, as we told you, have already lost today. Milwaukee at 5 over, 2.5 in front of the Reds. Houston beat Chicago earlier today. Well, the Cubbies' free fall continues. I think the Reds have had some problems with their starting pitching. They're actually getting more innings out of their starters here recently than Chicago. 2-2. And they appeal down to first, and nothing doing, says Eric Cooper. Jeff Kellogg calls the balls and strikes. Tim Timmons at second, and Mark Carlson, the umpire, at third. Fastball on the ground to Giannis, and there are 2 away. Not only the problems here at Great American Ballpark for Milwaukee, they have struggled everywhere they have gone on the road, and it is truly a mystery when you look up and down this lineup. Their home record, best in the National League, 21-7, where they average nearly 6 runs per game. On the road, they have won 8, they have lost 17, and they're not even averaging 3 runs per game. And Chris, that is so hard to figure, isn't it?
Well, it really is, but they're a ball club, Tom, that doesn't manufacture runs. I mean, they have Ricky Weeks at the top of the order. He's getting on base percentage pretty high this year, but he doesn't have all that many stolen bases. They've got sluggers 2 through 5 in their lineup that can really hit it, get it done. They rely on guys like Braun, Fielder, and McGee to do all their damage.
Back-to-back, real good changeup from Wood, fooling Braun. See, the 4 home runs against the Reds this year for Braun, but only 5 runs batted in. 0-2 pitch. Try to get him to chase a change again.
Well, Travis has all the pitches. He's got a fastball that he throws. He'll throw a cutter, a slider. Sometimes he'll throw an overhand curveball, but it's mainly fastball, changeup that are his 2 main go-to pitches.
Reds, of course, got outstanding starting pitching last night, albeit in a 2-1 loss in Atlanta. But Johnny Cueto continues to make great strides. He is really throwing the ball well.
Unfortunately, he seems like he's the Lone Ranger when it comes to throwing the ball well and consistently. See what he did last night in Atlanta. Reds needed it. Gave Dusty Baker 8 innings, saved the bullpen.
Weak ground ball to Phillips, and what a good start. 1, 2, 3. So the Reds coming up in a scoreless game. Their starting lineup under manager Dusty Baker. Chris Heisey in place of Stubbs in center will lead off, followed by Brandon Phillips and Joey Votto. Scott Rowland in the cleanup spot. Jay Bruce in right, bats fifth. Johnny in left field. And a latter third of Ryan Hannigan, Paul Janisch, and Travis Wood against 2 and 3 left-handed, whom the Reds really banged around his first start against him this year, Chris Narveson.
You know, it's interesting because Chris Narveson had 4 really good starts coming into that game against the Reds, got banged around, then went on another 4 games and had another number of really good starts. So here he is, start number 11 on the year. The Reds have beaten him up pretty good. Overall in his career, 16 and 12. A left-hander that relies on a lot of off-speed stuff.
Chris Heisey looks at a strike. Chris at 279 batting. 4 home runs, 17 runs batted in. Two and 1.
You know, the key with Chris Narveson is to be patient. Make sure this young man throws strikes. Make sure that he, you know, shows you all his pitches, because his game is to get you way out on your front foot. He doesn't have too much fastball that you should be worried about him throwing that by you, even when you get 2 strikes in the count.
You know, it's funny how sometimes you can have a couple of bad starts and they really make your overall body of work pretty an incomplete story. And that's certainly true for Narveson. Talked about the 2 1/3 innings, gave up 7 runs against the Reds. In his last start in 3 1/3 gave up 6 against the Nationals. But in his 8 other starts, the earned run average is 2.3. So again, you say, well, yeah, he did have those 2 bad games. That's true.
So it's 5s and multiples of 5s for Chris Narveson that gives him problems.
I mean, from your number 5 guy in the rotation, much like last year. I mean, Narveson won 12 games as a rookie left-hander last year. ERA under 5, barely under 5. But at the end of the day, I mean, if he's a guy in your number 5 hole who, can rip off 10, 12 wins for you, bring that ERA down a little bit, that's a pretty good catch.
What you got to like about Narveson so far this year, he's turned around the number of home runs he's given up.
Fastball at 87, enough to beat Heisey, 1 out. Take a look at Milwaukee defensively, presented by Ford. Carlos Gomez in center field, played by Braun and Corey Hart. Along the infield, McGee and Fielder on the corners. Betancourt and Weeks up the middle. Narveson and Jonathan Lucroy. Lucroy began the year, you may remember, on the DL. Brandon Phillips at 307, 5 home runs and 30 runs batted in. Of course, most of the Reds contingent felt like it should have been a 31st RBI on that controversial call at home plate last night in Atlanta. In the air to Hart, and just like that, 2 out. Understand even David Ross, the Atlanta catcher last night, after initially thinking the umpire got it right, I guess he had some comments that said, I watched the replay and Giannis was safe. And Brandon Phillips hot down in there in that dugout. Now Joey Votto. 2 outs, none on, no score. We're in the first inning.
Well, Votto is one guy that has seen Narveson 9 times, has 5 hits. That computes to a batting average over 500. He's the only one of the Reds who's hit a home run off of it.
Fastball fouled away.
The Reds have done a pretty good job against left-handers so far this year. They'll get another chance tonight. Joey Votto, of course, leads the list there, even though he is a left-handed hitter. Jay Bruce batting .350 against lefties so far this season. The Reds overall have done a good job when they get to see a southpaw.
Well, in just about every major category, they are the best when facing a left-hander among all teams in the National League. They have the best batting average, the best on-base percentage, the best slugging percentage among all clubs against a southpaw. Ball 4. Oh, borderline call there by Jeff Kellogg. Joey Votto thought that was low. So a 3-2 pitch on the way. And that one is low. So Votto does draw the walk, and that'll bring Scott Rowland to the plate. Some lefties you can run on, some you can't. What about Narveson?
Well, they've run on him so far this year. 5 stolen base attempts. 4 of them have been successful. I wouldn't think this would be one of those times where the Reds will push the running game with Votto at first. Two pretty good first basemen down there talking to each other, with Prince Fielder and Joey Votto in close proximity.
Of course, the one on the left is under contract for 3 years. The one on the right is a free agent at the end of the year. Corey Hart coming in a few paces, and this will do it in the Reds' first inning. 1 man left, end of 1, no score. Serious lawyers for serious injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Chris, this is not a good sign.
Well, not when you use your relievers at the rate that Dusty Baker is having to use his relievers right now. Last 10 games, 11 relievers used, 45 innings pitched by your bullpen. And that earned run average is pretty good, but you want to keep those guys strong enough so that they're able to put good numbers up right on through the end of the summer.
Tell you what is interesting is you look at that 3.40 ERA as it's strike one to Prince Fielder, is that if you took out the appearances from Darrell Thompson, who pitched in the one game, was sent back to the minor leagues, and an outing by Jordan Smith, that ERA would be under 2 for the Reds bullpen. Now you're really talking. Unfortunately, they're just pitching too many innings.
Yeah, you know what you really like to do, and in reality it goes like this. You've got pitchers in your bullpen that pitch in games in which you're winning, and you've got pitchers in your bullpen that pitch in games in which you're losing. And you ought to be able to split the bullpen down.
Shallow center field. This will be an easy play for Heisey, or we thought.
My goodness, what happened?
I mean, not only did Heisey break back, and you see that from outfielders from time to time, but Paul Janisch wasn't within 3 steps of that baseball. So that'll go as a hit for Fielder. And he's aboard to begin the Milwaukee second inning.
Well, the ball was hit plenty high enough. I mean, this was hang time of a Ray Guy punt. And Heisey looks like he's standing in the sunlight, and maybe he just couldn't see it coming off the bat right there. I mean, if he's out there in the sun, and this is not an easy left and center field to play. I mean, got sunglasses on the brim of your cap. It might be more effective when used elsewhere.
Got a third. That is a fair ball. They get one, and they cannot turn it. Ball very slowly hit down to Roland. One out in the inning.
You know, the philosophy of Scott Rowland is, and it should be of all infielders, make sure you get one. Make sure you get a good, solid grip on the baseball and throw it right into the chest of the second baseman when he's covering the bag. And he does that. Does his part of it. So does Brandon Phillips. Just that Casey McGee just able to get down the line on that slow roller too fast.
That'll bring up the catcher Jonathan Lucroy, really swinging a good bat to begin this year for Milwaukee. A .330 .22 batter, 5 home runs and 24 runs batted in. We told you we did not see him when the season began. They remember he broke a finger back in spring training very early on. And they thought they'd have him back for opening day. He was around when the Reds went into Milwaukee. Of course, today here on Memorial Day, we're going to tell you about how you can send out text right now to any active or retired members of the military. So stand by for that. Grab a pencil or grab your cell phone. 1-1. In the air behind the plate, a long run for Hannigan, and it's kind of the camera way. But today only Fox Sports Ohio has teamed up with Wendy's and the U.S. Soda provide an in-game text opportunity for you to send your thanks to members of our military. You can text your well wishes, gratitude to 37664, which will scroll on our screen during the 4th, 6th, and 8th innings. So get them in. It's a simple way for all involved to say thanks to the men and women who selflessly serve and continue to serve our country. Votto backing up behind the bag, and Lucroy taken care of for the second out of the inning.
A lot of fastball so far in the night for Travis Wood. He just goes up with a fastball right here. Lucroy can't get on top of it. It's nice to see. I mean, if you can get away with it. Pitchers love to go through the first time through the lineup with throwing as few other pitches than a fastball as possible. I mean, if you can only throw that number one through the first 9 hitters and then the next time come around and still have the rest of your pitching repertoire unseen that night, that gives the pitcher a distinct advantage.
So now Yuniesky Betancourt, the Milwaukee shortstop, his first year with the team after coming over from Kansas City. Strike one. In the air, foul ground. Votto over near the dugout, but runs out of room off the very edge of it. And about 10 rows back into the seats. Wood ahead of Betancourt at no balls and 2 strikes. Three straight night games here at Great American Ballpark between these two teams. And the final 3 days of 20 in a row. The Reds will get 1 day off on Thursday, and then they'll strike up the band once again an extended period of time before they have another off day, playing 33 games in 34 days. And of course, mixed in there so far, that 19-inning marathon last week in Philly. Jam shot, fly ball to Johnny, and the inning is over. Hit a man left. Reds coming up in the second inning, no score. Baseball writer Hal McCoy right now for a live in-game chat. It's presented by 1-800-SAFE-AUTO and safeauto.com. And of course, everything you need to know about the Jim Tressel resignation at Ohio State University earlier today. Clearly, there are some things I'm sure he wished he would have been handled a little bit differently. But I can only tell you from firsthand experience in dealing with Jim Tressel. And I'm talking about a regular season game or meeting with him the eve of a national championship game twice. I'd send my kid to play for him any day, every day. And I think that's about the highest compliment you can pay to a guy. I wish him nothing but the best. I really like him and admire him very much. It's not to say that everything that went down, he didn't have some of a hand in it, clearly. There's very little debate about that. But he's a good man and a real good coach. And he'll be missed. Jay Bruce not missing much these days. That ball rattling around in the corner, and Bruce picked it up. He realized Hart was having problems. He's trying for three, and he's in there. Good way to get it started for the Redlegs here in the second inning.
Really good effort by Jay Bruce right there. Beyond the hit, I mean, the hit was hit hard. A fastball that he turns on, rips it down to right field corner. They're trying to go in on him, and that's a tough pitch for Narveson because everything he throws kind of cuts away from a lefty. But down in the corner, Corey Hart has to go all the way into the corner to get it. And I'll tell you what, they had a chance to get Jay Bruce by a long shot at third base had that relay throw been anywhere close to the bag. But he forced them to make a play. The Milwaukee Brewers defense didn't. And Tom, tell us about it.
Jay Bruce is safe at third. Be a safe and secure New York line. Well, now Johnny with an RBI chance. Boy, he looked good on Saturday. Got to start there in Atlanta. And swung the bat very, very well. That pitcher's taken on the inside corner. And Gomes behind 0-2.
Now the Brewers are playing their defense halfway, which makes it tough for Jay Bruce to decide ahead of time what he's going to do. With nobody out, probably not going to go on contact right here. He'll hold and make sure the ball goes by an infielder before he decides to try to score.
Talked about Gomes on Saturday night in Atlanta. He had 4 hits and 6 at-bats. He scored 2 runs in that game, which equaled his runs scored total for the entire month of May. One ball, 2 strike pitch. And that didn't miss by much. Narveson wanted the call, did not get it.
You know, Johnny Gomes got to be thinking, all right, don't try to do too much right here. Center the ball, try to hit it hard. You know, even a decent fly ball into the outfield is going to score you a run right here. Just don't try to overdo it.
He didn't overdo it. He whacks it into left. That'll be more than enough to get in Jay Bruce, and the Reds lead 1-0.
That's got to make both those guys feel very good. Jay Bruce set it up with a leadoff triple, and Johnny Gomes, who had been struggling so mightily, saw his batting average come up 10 points, and after that ball game that he had 4 hits in, hits it right on the button. Nearly hit it too hard for Jay Bruce to be able to score. Our Performance Honda Exmo shows a nice level swing by the Reds left fielder.
Ball 1 high to Ryan Hannigan. One and one to Ryan Hannigan, a .250 batter, a couple of home runs and 12 runs knocked in. So the Reds out to the 1-0 lead here in the second inning. And with foul out of play off to the first base side, and Hannigan behind him 1-2. Paul Janisch waiting.
Tom, I know a lot of people were very surprised about the Jim Tressel move today. I got one question for you, though. What are you going to do with all those sweater vests that you have in your closet?
I'm still going to wear them in honor of my main man.
All right.
I'm going to stand by him. Down to third, McGee. Perfect throw over to fielder, and they're 2 away in the inning. Follow the Reds with MLB.com at bat 11. 31826. Just text it or visit Reds.com. Now Janisch. You kind of like those sweater vests. You're always very complimentary of them, unless you're, of course, you know, saying that tongue-in-cheek.
No. I know you have some, and I know it's just a good look on you. Some things look good on some people and not on others.
It's like that bow tie.
Between you and Jim Tressel, I think you got the sweater vest market pretty much cornered, and it looks good. It's a good look.
It's like you with that bow tie.
You're going to see that on the road when Tuesday rolls around.
Swing and a miss, and Giannis gone. But the Reds get a run. Lead at the end of 2, 1-0.
We appreciate it, and appreciate all your hard work. Salute you guys every single day before we start with the national anthem and saluting the flag. And that's going out to you guys. Very thankful, appreciate your hard work, and come on back when you get a chance. Come check out a game, get a hot dog and a beer.
Our Geico Direct quote from Johnny Gomes, who always certainly is thinking of those that serve in the military, not only those that have served, those that are serving, and those that will serve.
Well, he almost became a U.S. Marine, Johnny Gomes did, of course. Had he not played baseball, had he decided not to pursue, you know, the career of being a baseball player, he said he was on his way to joining the Marines.
So here we go in the Brewers' third inning. It'll be 8-9-1. Carlos Gomez, Chris Narveson, then we roll over to the leadoff man, Ricky Weeks. Reds with a 1-0 lead. Good fastball, and a well-located fastball in the inside corner. Wood has allowed one hit, and that was that fly ball that fell in front of Chris Heisey to lead off the second inning off the bat of Prince Fielder. 2-1 on Gomez. Two and two. Again, it's your time right now. Thanks to Fox Sports Ohio, Wendy's, and the USO, you can send an in-game text and say thanks to members of our military. Or just in general. It can be to somebody in particular or a retired member of the military. 37664, and they will roll along your screen during the 4th, the 6th, and the 8th innings tonight. It's good stuff. Oh, boy, is that a well-located heater. First strikeout of the game by Travis Wood.
Well, if you can control the low outside corner, whether you're right-handed or left-handed, it doesn't matter. You're going to have a good game. That's the pitchers ought to practice more than any other pitch. It's the toughest pitch to hit. And if you can dial it up there at 93 miles an hour with a little extra movement, you might just get a strikeout yourself.
Harbison, first pitch swinging. Laces one into center field, and he's aboard. That's only his third hit in 19 at bats all year. So now Ricky Weeks. He popped up to the first baseman Joey Votto leading off the game. Weeks finally able to stay healthy a year ago, and the former #1 pick put it all together. 29 home runs, 83 batted in, scored 112 runs. All three categories, the most ever by a Brewers second baseman, and he's well on his way to those kind of numbers this year. We're right in the same neighborhood. And maybe more than any other player. You talk to Weeks' teammates and ask what they think about him. And boy, they will talk all day long about what a gamer they think Ricky Weeks is. There's a fly ball into right. 2 out.
Now, this is a ball club, Tom, that really gets along very well. I'm talking about the Milwaukee Brewers. We know that the Reds are a bunch of good guys, and they have very good team chemistry, but this is one thing the Brewers excel in, too. I was down there today watching them. They're in their pregame warm-up, just as they were stretching, and they're a nice, loose group. Of course, winning the way they have at home before this road trip will do that for you. But they're kidding with everybody. They are cohesive. You can just tell that there's a lot of positive energy in that roster, and that does make a difference.
First pitch changeup and taken by Corey Hart away. Hart grounded out to the shortstop his first time up. 1 on, 2 out. Reds lead 1-0 in the third. Really outside of that one game where he hit the 3 home runs. And he knocked in 7. That was against Washington a week ago today. It has been a very slow return to the lineup offensively for Corey Hart. Now, when you consider 3 of his 4 home runs came in a game, 7 of his 10 RBIs came in a game, that means in the other 24 games in which he's played since coming off the DL, he has 1 long one and just 3 batted in.
Corey Hart from Reds country down around Bowling Green, Kentucky. He was chosen in the 11th round by the Brewers back in the year 2000.
Well, a week ago today, he had it all going. There's #1 to deep right center. There's #2 to deep left center. And then the hat trick. Of course, you always wonder, and you keep an eye on guys who suffer the kind of injury that Hart did. And you hear about them more and more in this day and age. About straining an oblique muscle. And Chris, as you know, when you're talking about whether it's pitching, just throwing the ball, and especially swinging that bat, if your core's not right, that's tough to do well.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to try to build up to. I mean, these guys nowadays are in such good shape that you wouldn't think that they would blow out that easily. That oblique injury, which is the muscles are surrounding your rib cage, either front or back, that used to be an injury that was pretty much only a pitching injury. Pitchers would do that as they would twist and turn and torque their upper body, but now you see more and more everyday players with that injury. Back-to-back changeups will take care of him, though.
Indeed. 2 strikeouts in the inning, 2 in the game for Wood. 1 man left. Reds bat in the third, leading by a run. Who have done so much to help all of us. Log on to MLB.com or welcomebackveterans.org for more information on how you can make a difference. Reds 1, Brewers nothing. A big Reds fan right there in the red shirt a moment ago. A fellow named Kyle Gerhardt, been coming to games for a long time. It's funny, you pan through the crowd on a regular basis and you spot folks you've been seeing around here for years and years. There he is right there in the middle of the screen in the red shirt. And there's a budding Reds fan for a long time to come. Travis Wood to lead it off in the Reds' third inning. They got their run on a leadoff triple in the second by Jay Bruce. He scored on a fly ball to left from Johnny Gomes. It's out of play. 0-2. Only one hit this year for Travis Wood, but he made the most of it when he clubbed the home run in St. Louis. That one got a piece of Jonathan Lucroy, and he's trying to walk out the sting.
Boy, Travis Wood takes a mean hack right here. Just was able to tick that ball, and it gets him right on the arm. It's amazing that he's got that thing sitting right there. A lot of catchers are going to hold that arm down below their leg, behind their back, somewhere like that, so that exact instance doesn't happen where you get hit by a foul tip. He tries to protect it with his glove, as you can kind of see. He puts his left hand up with the glove and then tries to get his right hand behind it a little bit. Some catchers don't feel comfortable having that arm behind them. Man, make sure you cover it up.
Breaking ball, and that's strike 3 call. Third strikeout tonight for the Milwaukee left-hander Chris Narveson. When the Reds get it done with an RBI like Johnny Gomes did in the second, that means another $25 from Shakely goes to the Reds Community Fund. Shakely, it's done. Beautiful Memorial Day night in the Queen City. And the Reds so road weary after 10 games, 3 cities, Cleveland, Philadelphia, and Atlanta, and finally back on the home turf. Chris Heisey struck out his first time up, and he's behind here 0-2.
Now, he struck out on a 3-2 fastball, fouled a couple off before that strikeout pitch came. Looked bad on that last changeup. And that was another one. We of course can see into the glove of Chris Narveson, and when he holds his changeup in a very conventional circle change fashion. Takes his index finger off the ball, and then you see those 3 fingers on top. There it comes one more time.
And there goes Heisey one more time. 2 at bats, 2 strikeouts.
He keeps it down, has good arm action. And as long as it appears like it's a strike when it comes out of the pitcher's hand, he'll have that hitter hacking.
So now Brandon Phillips. He was quite angry with himself when he lifted a fly ball to Corey Hart on the first pitch in his first at bat in the first inning.
You know, Narveson is one of those pitchers, Tom, but a lot of hitters don't like to do this. But he is the type of pitcher that if you like to move around in the batter's box, he's a guy that it might make some sense to move up in the batter's box a little bit. He throws so many off-speed pitches that his fastball is not really all that much that's going to get by him. So if you move up, 4, 5, 6 inches in the batter's box instead of now, Brandon Phillips is about halfway in. He's where most hitters are, but some guys are already way in the back of the batter's box where they're kicking out the dirt back here somewhere. And Brandon's pretty close to that. I mean, you still have some room up in the front if you wanted to do so. That's a wide 2-strike stance here.
Struck him out, and Narveson fans aside in the third. Go to the fourth. Reds lead 1-0. Food Group, proudly serving America's restaurants, schools, retailers, and our military around the world. JTM Food Group. By your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Geico, 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Sonic, America's Drive-In. It's new, it's better, it's the new Sonic Good. Looking from the Ohio side of the Ohio River into the beautiful Commonwealth of Kentucky. Chris, how about our AT&T trivia question?
All right, let's take a look at it, Tom, and see what it is. Who holds the Reds Club record for the most Grand Slams in a month? Who holds the Reds Club record for most Grand Slams in 1 month? I know who I'm going with on that one.
Me too.
Now, you usually, when you don't have an idea, you'll guess what? Johnny Bench or Tony Perez.
Yeah, but I think I know this one.
I think this is the Big Bopper from Birmingham.
No.
Well, that's my guy anyway. Lee May.
Good guess. But I think I remember actually watching this guy do this. So obviously he's not very old. But I could be wrong. One of the most natural guesses would be, because he's among the all-time leaders in the history of the game in Grand Slams, is Ken Griffey Jr. That's not my guess. But that would be a good guess. I'm going with Eric the Red. Eric Davis. Three 3-0 to Ryan Braun, who bounced out to Brandon Phillips his first time up. Reds lead 1-0. Heart of the order here for the Brewers against Travis Wood. Fielder to follow, and then Casey McGee.
They haven't had all that many at-bats career-wise against Wood. Ryan Braun is 2 for 8. Prince Fielder 2 for 6. Casey McGee 1 for 8. But they've only faced him a couple of times.
Three balls and a strike to the Milwaukee left fielder. And there's a good fastball in the inside corner. Strike 2. Pitcher's pitch there. So Wood trying to come all the way back and take care of Braun after falling behind 3-0. And Travis delivers. Foul ball. Well, that wasn't fouled by much. I tell you, you take a look at that again.
Well, there's nobody.
Some by Eric Cooper down there.
There's nobody arguing that in the bullpen. It's not. It's, remember, where the ball goes over the bag. And it landed in foul territory. Cooper made an emphatic foul call, and no one even flinched down there in the Brewer dugout. So we'll go with it.
So another 3-2 on the way. And another pitch spoiled by Braun. Tonight the Reds getting a look at the number 5 starter in the Milwaukee rotation. The next 2 nights the Reds will see the 2 big acquisitions made by Milwaukee during the offseason. When they brought in Zach Greinke from the Kansas City Royals, and they brought in Sean Markham from Toronto. Brandon Phillips from his knees throws out Ryan Braun. Every night it seems Brandon Phillips is making a play or plays just like that.
What a great stop, and be able to get a guy who's really booking it down the line right here too. A hot shot up the middle from his knees, a strong throw, good stretch by Votto. And meanwhile, Ryan Braun is boot scooting down the line. I mean, he's got 13 stolen bases, so he's got plenty of speed. When you make a play like that and ahead of Prince Fielder, just a huge play.
Fielder popped one up in the shallow center field. It fell in for a hit his first time up, and that's one of 2 Milwaukee hits in the game.
I can't wait to get my Brandon Phillips highlight tape at the end of the year. Be the length of a double length motion picture.
Matt Sigafus will have that for you dialed in.
Better believe it.
All year long.
Nobody better in the business than Siggy.
And nothing better the other night when you went on and on and on about traveling on a train. And he pulled that video up of you and what you looked like the last time you took a train, only 30 years ago. That was big league.
I remember all that black smoke coming out of the coal stacks.
That ball mashed into right center field by Fielder. Over to cut it off is Heisey. So a 2-for-2 night for Fielder.
All right, so without that play by Brandon Phillips, the Brewers now are looking at first and second and nobody out. And still Casey McGee coming up instead of a 1-out single that is very manageable still. A slider cutting away from him. Good level swing by Fielder. And a line drive. I'll tell you what, that guy plays hard on every play, every night. You talk to his teammates, he might be one of the more misunderstood players in the game. Prince Fielder.
Pitch in the dirt. Fielder thought about it, and they throw down to first, but a little too late. Casey McGee bounced into a fielder's choice on a ground ball to Scott Rowland back in the 2nd inning. Well, you look at the 2 big premier first basemen, or 2 of 3 really in the National League Central in particular, if not the entire National League period. And I can't think of anyone else you'd throw into that same equation when you're talking about Votto, Fielder, and Albert Pujols.
Ryan Howard, baby.
Ryan Howard, yep, you're right. I beg your pardon. All right, so 3 out of 4. But 2 of those 4, 2 of them being in the NL Central, Fielder and Pujols, are free agents at the end of the year. Of course, Adrian Gonzalez would have been in that mix. He was a big slugger in San Diego, and boy, what a month of May he's having. He's the only guy in baseball with more RBIs this month than Jay Bruce. 2-1 to McGee.
I'm sure there's more than one pitcher around the Central Division that would say adios to both of them, that they would leave the division. we want Joey Votto here for a long time, as he will be under contract for a long time. And Albert Pujols, I'd be surprised if he ends up going anywhere else in St. Louis, but you really never know.
2-1 on McGee, and Wood a look over. Pulled the string on him. 2-2. Fielder situation is tenuous at best in regard to coming back to Milwaukee, even though they draw unbelievably well for a city that size. They're not St. Louis, but they're not all that far behind. 2-2 pitch off the end of the bat, and Heisey coming in to get it. 2 away. But the Brewers only have so much money to spend. They've already locked up guys like Ryan Braun, and of course they locked up last year Corey Hart. They have pitchers quote unquote under control, but guys like Greinke, Markham, those guys could be in line to make some big money in terms of going to arbitration. Lucroy's another guy. McGee is another guy. Those guys will be going to arbitration. Ricky Weeks, another player in line to certainly hit the lottery. And you really wonder if they're going to be able to bring Fielder back. All signs point to no, but I guess you never know. Weeks is already making good money. He's under a deal.
Well, the people that are close to the Milwaukee Brewers tell me that that guy right there is the ringleader for everything that happens in that clubhouse. I mean, he comes to play every day. You may not look at it, you may not see it when you watch him play, even if you play against him. There are pitchers that have been, traded over to the Brewers. And after, a spring training or after a couple of months with the Brewers, they'll say, man, oh man, I had no idea that Prince Fielder is the kind of player that he is. I mean, he is a real leader. You look at him and you think, oh, he's an overweight guy that, he's lucky to be playing baseball. But he runs every fly ball out, every ground ball out. He plays every day, rarely ever takes a day off. And he is driven to win. That's a hard guy to say goodbye to. That's a decision the Brewers are up to at the end of this season.
0-2 on Lucroy. Reds leading 1-0 here in the 4th inning. Fastball off the outside edge.
You're always looking for a leader who's a good player, because you can't be a leader and be a guy hitting 212 sitting on the bench. You're looking for a leader that can be a little bit, vocal. But not all great players are leaders because they're just not that type of personality. Lucroy happy to forget about yesterday. He wore the golden sombrero in the Sunday ball game that he played. That, of course, against the San Francisco Giants.
Tapper down to roll, and he'll go the short way, and that'll retire to side. A 1-out single by Fielder. He's left on base. Brewers have stranded 3, and the Reds lead 1-0. line during our game tonight. Vicky Meckley of Cincinnati, who currently drives a 2007 Corolla, will win the beautiful new Tundra on display here at Great American Ballpark, and you can register for your chance to win it at an upcoming game. Just stop by your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. With Chris Welsh, Jim Day, Jeff Pecoro, and our entire Fox Sports Ohio crew, Tom Brenneman back at Great American Ballpark, where the Reds have a 1-0 lead over Chris Narveson and the Brewers. It'll be Votto, Rowland, and Bruce here in the Reds' fourth. Joey walked his first time up. Always with us right here in the broadcast booth. On camera, Jim Strickler, Joel Luckup, our statistician, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, and Dickie Moss. The entire family back together again.
That would be the unreverend.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Jesse Jackson.
I thought he was quite reverend-like so far this year anyway.
Only tonight.
At least until 11. 3-1 to Joey Votto. One count on Votto, and he's walked for the second time. A real spiritual leader in this booth is without a doubt Dickie Moss. Would you agree with that, Chris?
Absolutely right, yeah.
The man.
Works all day on his farm down in Kentucky, comes up here to set us up so all the audio sounds right.
Well, he goes way back with Reds baseball.
Yeah.
Engineer, producer for many, many years. Over on the radio side, we're glad to have him on the TV side. Strike one to Scott Rowland. He flied out to Corey Hart to end the first inning. Rowland with a count of 0-1 and now 0-2. Votto taking a huge lead over there at first base. He's not bothered in the least bit by any movement in terms of coming to the first base bag from Narveson. He'll start drifting away from that base and extend that lead further and further. Pulled a little bit that time. He's off to the races here. This will fall. And then bobbled out there by Gomez, and Votto had already stopped. So by the time Joey noticed it, Gomez was fumbling around with it out there. It was too late for him to rev it back up, so the Reds have him on 2-1 with nobody out.
Well, Joey Votto had a one-way lead. He had a big lead, but on the first move, meaning the pickup by Narveson's leg, he was going back to the bag. So he got a slow start to second. But the only time you're going to go to third right here. You see him right there now. He's got to wait, and he's got to hesitate again because he's not sure where Carlos Gomez is playing. So he gets to the ball, he's going to go and stop and say, well, you know what, with nobody out, you only go to third base when you know for certain that you will make it.
Now Jay Bruce, he tripled down the right field line and scored the only run of the game. That was back in the second inning. And looks at a strike. The National League leader in virtually every offensive category here in the month of May. If he's not named the National League's Player of the Month, I think it would be a stunner to everybody who's paid attention over the last 30 days. 0-2 to Bruce.
Good breaking ball right there. Jay Bruce may have seen his last fastball in this at bat. First pitch fastball was for a strike. He let it go. He doesn't swing at a lot of first pitches. Narveson really needs a ground ball right here. He may just stay on that with that breaking ball.
In the air, right field, and the beat goes on in the month of May for Jay Bruce.
Wow.
Home runs and 32 runs batted in this month alone for the Reds right fielder. And he's just tied Eric Davis's franchise record for home runs in the month of May. Eric hit 12 of them back in May of '87.
Well, he stayed right on that no ball, two strike curveball that Narveson threw up there, and Reds now have a 4-run cushion. Take another look at the swing of Jay Bruce. He's in the hole. Narveson just kind of hangs it up there for him. That's not a good spot for an 0-2 pitch. In fact, that's where Jay Bruce has most of his power. Outer third, up over the belt. You just see the power that he generates with that legs.
On a play. 1-2 on Johnny Gomes.
Take another look at the Exmo. Look at Jay Bruce's home run swing.
Boy, this month, all of a sudden, when you look at all the home runs, and as we mentioned, that's now this month alone 12 of them. 32 runs batted in with one more day to go this month. As that one is ripped in the left field corner by Johnny Gomes, and don't look now, all of a sudden Johnny Gomes starting to swing the bat a little better here. 4 hits on Saturday night, sac fly RBI tonight, and now a double.
Well, the sac fly RBI tonight was hit just about as hard as this double was. When you're going bad, this ball hooks foul. When you're beginning to go good again, it stays fair. He goes down to get that curveball. So on successive curveballs offered up there by the Brewers starter, Reds have laced it. They've got some activity down there in the Brewer bullpen.
Rick Kranitz, first-year pitching coach under the new manager of the Brewers, replacing Ken Maka. Ron Renicky, after a number of very successful years as a coach under Mike Scioscia for the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Sergio Mitre is starting to stretch out in the Milwaukee pen. 3 runs home, runner at second, none out.
I remember you got former Reds manager Jerry Narron in there as the bench coach for the Brewers. It's his 3rd gig as a bench coach around the major leagues.
Jerry Narron been around this game for a long time. A self-described baseball guy, and what a good guy.
That would be baseball guy.
Yeah, in his North Carolinian tongue.
Good guy, smart baseball man. There's no doubt about that. Still nobody out in the inning. Reds have a great chance to play a little add-on. I mean, you don't want to get too happy right here. So if you're Ryan Hannigan, you still know where your duty is, which is to try to get Johnny Gomes over to third base. You got 2 strikes on you, that's fine. And Hannigan's one of those guys who almost naturally hits the ball to right field, right center field, be able to move that runner over.
One-two pitch, and a tapper that will not advance a runner on the third. 1 out. right, time to answer our AT&T trivia question. Who holds a Reds franchise record for most grand slams in a month?
I say Lee May, you say Eric Davis. Eric Davis, you probably looked.
No. Now, his third one on this date in 1987. I only remember that. Those were the days when I was working down in the dungeon over at Channel 5. J.D. Hayworth, our weekend sports anchor. Steve Physiok, our Monday through Friday sports anchor. And your buddy and my buddy Bill Hemmer and I, we would tape games, so many games, all on the satellite every night, so we could edit those highlights at the end of the night for Steve Physiok and J.D. off Dorn Taylor on this date in '87 at Three River Stadium, the third Grand Slam in that month for Eric the Red. And Giannis drives one into left center field. That'll be a base hit. And that'll bring in Johnny Gomes, and the Reds have added on indeed. It is a 5-0 game.
Giannis struck out the first time that he faced Chris Narveson in this ball game. This time he gets a 2-0 pitch. And a fastball that he wanted to go down and away. Did go down and away. Not bad pitch really for Narveson, but a nice swing by Paul Giannis. Plates Johnny Gomes, and it's a 5-zip ball game.
That home run by Bruce a moment ago. He has now hit 6 of the last 7 home runs by a Cincinnati Red, and 8 of their last 10. Wood squares around, pulls the bat away, and takes a strike. So a very good start to this one here tonight for the Reds. A run in the second, 4 and still batting here in the fourth. But a long way to go against a very good offensive team they're playing here tonight. Runner goes, swung on and missed, and the throw is into center field. That'll be a stolen base for Giannis, his second in 3 attempts.
Interesting call right there. I doubt that was a straight steal. That would have been Paul Giannis's only second attempt at a stolen base this year. He's going to look back and see what Travis Wood does. I got to think that was a hit and run. Just trying to make something happen. You've already scored 5 runs, 4 in this inning. You only got 1 out. You keep pushing the pedal down on the accelerator, see if you can get more and more.
Breaking ball that almost hit Wood. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. Don't forget, today you can send your thanks to members of the military. You see some of the texts that have come across already. And the thank yous to all those serving our country. Text to 37664. As Wood falls down, he swung so hard. Fox Sports Ohio would like to thank the USO and Wendy's for this texting opportunity for all of you.
Letting it rip right there. Unfortunately, it was a changeup. He's looking for fastball. Nearly spins himself into the ground. Now, if you're a pitcher, an opposing hitter falls down like that from swinging too hard, that's usually not something that you're very appreciative of. He didn't mean to fall down. I mean, that may be how good that changeup was that Chris Narveson threw him. But there was a day when a hitter would swing like that and fall down, and he'd get a message next time around. Back in the days when you were in the dungeon in Channel 5.
You better believe that, brother. Heard from Bill Hemmer today. He wanted to know what was going on with his beloved Reds. He's hanging out with Denny Jansen in New York City over the weekend. Denny went up to see Bill Hemmer, and they were hanging out together, and Bill had to get on the horn and know what was going on with his Reds. I told him they're going to be all right. Just relax. Just relax. Bill, a very emotional sort, despite climbing towards the tender age of 50. He's creeping up on it.
Wow. He looks good for his age.
He does. He and I are the same age, you know.
You're kidding.
I put the ball on the tee for you.
He looks great.
You should have taken a better cut than that. 1-2
You're good job yourself.
And gone swinging is Heisey, but a good fourth inning for the Reds. They score 4. Thanks in large part to that man again.
Reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Get ready for the Reds action 30 minutes before every game with Reds Live on Fox Sports Ohio. Reds Live is everything a Reds fan needs to get ready for the game. Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing.
Yuniesky Betancourt to lead things off here in the Milwaukee 5th inning with the Reds in front 5-0. Travis Wood has allowed 3 hits in the game. 2 to Prince Fielder and 1 to the opposing pitcher. That ball in the air, left center field. It's going to carry a little further than Johnny Gomes originally thought, but able to get it before bumping into that wall out there is Johnny. That ball wasn't squared up. And Gomes was a little bit fooled by it. There's a little breeze blowing out that way.
I'm not so sure there's a whole lot of breeze. Whatever prevailing breeze is, Tom, it always comes from the west, goes up the river towards left center field right here. Johnny Gomes is a lot better defender than people give him credit, and he had good pursuit on that ball. That's not all that easy of a catch. We're getting to that time of year when balls begin to fly out of here with some serious regularity.
Breaking ball drops in there to Carlos Gomez. Pinch hitter standing in the on-deck circle for the Brewers. That's Josh Wilson down there. Set to bat, it appears, for Narveson here in the 5th inning. Nothing at 2 to Gomez, who struck out looking his first at bat tonight. 4 finals earlier today in the National League, including the Giants beating the Cardinals. Bumgarner over Kyle McClellan in that one. 7-3 the final. Philadelphia won 2 of 3 over the weekend over the Mets, and they beat Washington today behind Roy Halladay. San Diego rallies late to beat Atlanta 3-2, and Houston all over the Cubs again. 12-7 the final. We'll see the Cubs a week from tonight. They'll be in for a 3-game series. They were just here not all that long ago. In fact, the last homestand. Ball in the air and hit pretty well. Gomes drifting back, and that one will fly into the seats. A solo home run for Carlos Gomez, his 4th of the year, and that makes it a 5-1 game.
Now, one of the advantages the Milwaukee Brewers have now that Corey Hart is back is that they can stick Hart up at the top of the order, put Carlos Gomez down the number 8 spot, give him some speed down there. He's got 13 stolen bases. But he also has a little bit of pop, as Travis Wood finds out on this little changeup that crosses the midsection of the plate down around the knees, and he just goes down to get that bad boy. That's the way you react when you give up a solo shot with a 5-run lead.
Well, here's Wilson. He takes low for ball 1. So Narvis in another shaky outing against the Reds. They have beat him up twice now in as many starts. Narveson allows 5 hits in 4 innings, 5 earned runs. He does strike out 7 and walks 2. That ball is clubbed into left field, and the Brewers have gone back-to-back. We just finished saying in the last inning, there are many teams in this league you get a 5-0 lead over, you really like your chances. This Milwaukee team, a 5-run lead is never safe.
Well, you don't expect Josh Wilson and Carlos Gomez to be the source of their power, though. I mean, Josh Wilson is a guy they just picked up off waivers. A utility infielder that's a pretty good defender, but not really known for his bat. But he and Carlos Gomez together in this inning are etching away on that Reds lead. That ball's pretty much right down Broadway.
So now the 5-run lead is down to 3 after the back-to-back home runs. And the Brewers have the top of the order coming up with only 1 out. Weeks has fouled out to Votto and flied out to Bruce and Wright. Ball and a strike on Weeks. Those are the numbers we gave you a minute ago on the Milwaukee starter, who's now out of the game. They had Sergio Mitre getting loose while Narveson was getting banged around in the bottom of the 4th inning. We'll see if he's the man that will replace him. Still the ball and 2 strikes. Milwaukee has 1 more trip left into Great American Ballpark this year. that'll be the second to last weekend of the season. The Reds go to Milwaukee only one more time. In fact, they will go there the final series leading up to the All-Star break. 2-2 now to Weeks. That certainly is an oddity in the scheduling. Reds have been to Milwaukee once this year. Will only come back for a second time. Then you don't play them on the road in Miller Park anytime after July the 10th. Still 2-2 on Weeks. Quite a battle here between Travis Wood and Ricky Weeks after the back-to-back home runs from Gomez and Wilson. We'll see if Wood can finally put him away. Threw a high fastball, and Weeks again fouls it off. Weeks taking a long time to get in that batter's box, and Wood standing on there waiting. And now pitch number 8 coming in this at bat. There'll be a 9th.
Well, Ricky Weeks did this in the first time up, or make it in the second time up when he finally flied out to center field. We've seen him be such a good fastball hitter over the years, and now Brian Hannigan's going to talk it over with Travis Wood and say, all right, what are we going to do to keep your pitch count under control and get this guy out? Wood is at 80 pitches right now. This is what Travis has done to the first 4 batters in a batting order and the last batters in the batting order. You see, he does much better against the top of the order, 1 through 4, than he does through the bottom of the order. This is the numbers taken all year long throughout all of Travis Wood's starts coming into tonight. And the same trend has happened tonight.
Ball driven hard into right center field. Heisey will track it. 2 out.
And when you consider the bottom of the order has done all the damage against Travis tonight. Carlos Gomez with a home run. Narveson batting in the number 9 spot. Pitcher got a base hit. His pinch hitter, Josh Wilson, went deep. I mean, sometimes the stats like that, you break them up and it's simply a statistical oddity. Other times it begins to show a trend, and then if it is a trend, you wonder why that trend is what it is. You lose concentration towards the end of the bottom of the order. Not sure what it is.
Corey Hart is grounded to short and struck out. On a play. Join Fox Sports Ohio and Wendy's this Memorial Day weekend. We pay tribute to the men and women of the armed forces. Buy a Wendy's Frosty key tag for $1 and get a free small Frosty with your purchase through September the 15th, and the proceeds go to USO Metro. Only at participating Wendy's. Pulled into left field, a base hit. So Wood, after giving up 3 hits over the entire first 4 innings, has allowed 3 hits and 2 runs here in the 5th. And there's still another tough out left in this inning. Ryan Braun coming up.
Yeah, remember after him, Prince Fielder, and then Casey McGee. Good low ball hitter is Corey Hart. Big tall guy, 6 feet 6 inches tall. Usually those tall guys like the ball down, and he's no exception. In fact, Corey Hart missed the last couple of days. He was ill. He had food poisoning a couple of days ago. He missed Saturday, then he missed Sunday. They're going to take him out of the ball game right now. Either food poisoning or flu-like symptoms.
So taking over to run for him is Nyjer Morgan. Seen Morgan in recent years with the Nationals and, of course, the Pirates. Corey talking things over with the Brewers trainer. Morgan runs very well, has a big lead over there, and he'll draw a throw. Of course, a man that Wood needs to make sure most of his attention is directed is the man at the plate. 12 home runs, 38 runs batted in. 0 for 2 tonight. Was robbed of a hit on a diving play on a hot smash up the middle back in the 4th inning by Brandon Phillips. And this ball is hit hard into right center field, and it will find a gap. And this will bring in another run. And all of a sudden, the 5-0 lead is down to 2.
Ron Renicky picked the right time to pinch run Morgan right there. If you were going to put him into the ball game, it worked perfectly for the Brewers because this ball goes into the gap and he scores easily. Not to say that Corey Hart couldn't have, because he runs pretty well too, but he's not in Morgan's speed. This ball hammered by Ryan Braun opposite way. After a couple of ground balls to the second baseman, one of them a hot shot flagged down by Brandon Phillips, he has his first hit. And here's a guy that's already has 2 hits on the night in Prince Fielder.
Yep, who carries a tying run. Home runs from the bottom of the order, igniting this Milwaukee rally. The number 8 hitter, Gomez, the pinch hitter, Wilson. And now this one in the air, and it should stop the bleeding. A 3-run 5th for the Brewers. And a 5-0 lead now stands at 5-3 for the Reds. Game on Friday night for Cincinnati Fireworks, featuring a soundtrack that'll take you away to Margaritaville, thanks to our friends at the Jeff Weiler Automotive family. Friday night, Saturday afternoon, Sunday afternoon, the Dodgers are in town. Call 381-REDS, 381-REDS. or visit Reds.com today. Nyjer Morgan came on a pinch run for Corey Hart, scored on the double by Braun. He'll stay in the game to play right. And Sergio Mitre comes on. He's thrown the ball well this year for the Brewers.
He has. He's been a reliever all year this year. He started a few games for the Yankees last year. 15 games, a good earned run average.
Brandon Phillips 0 for 2 is flied to right and struck out. 5 runs, 5 hits for the Reds, 3 runs, 7 hits for the Brewers. And that ball driven hard into right center field. And Morgan was calling for it. At least it looked like it all the way up here. And Gomez just ducks out of the way. 1 out.
Well, they've really got 2 center fielders out there because Nyjer Morgan can play center as well as anybody on this roster. And, of course, Gomez is your everyday guy.
Joey Votto's been walked twice in the game. He scored on the home run by Jay Bruce in the 4th. Lined hard, but right at Braun, and they're 2 away. A couple of hard hit balls, one by Phillips, one by Votto, but hard outs. And that will bring Scott Rowland to the plate. He flied to right inning the 1st inning and then singled to right center and scored on the Bruce home run in the 4th. One to Scott Rowland. A big happy birthday to a big Reds fan. She turns 89 years young today. Happy birthday, Darlene Fisher.
Happy birthday indeed. Mitre pretty much of a slider machine right now. It's one slider after another for this right-handed pitcher that the Brewers got in exchange for Chris Dickerson, former Reds outfielder and now in New York.
Two on to Rowland. Well, he had a good cut there, had a good pitch to hit. Got a rare fastball from Mitre. Left field, and Braun will track it, and that'll end the inning. 1-2-3 for Mitre. Brewers coming up. Reds in front, 5-3. Friday night. Free Agent Fridays presented by Mint Martini. Beginning at 5:40 out in the fan zone, you get drink specials, a Jimmy Buffett karaoke contest, and lots more. For tickets to the Reds and the Dodgers, June the 3rd, call 381-REDS or visit reds.com/free agent. That'll be Friday night. Dodgers coming into town. Travis Wood looking for an easy 6th inning. He gave up 3 runs on 4 hits in the Brewers' 5th. And the Reds lead 5-3 with Casey McGee leading it off, and a breaking ball misses away. Wood sailing along through the front 4 before hitting that bump in the road in the 5th. He challenged McGee with a fastball up in the zone, and he pops it up to Paul Giannis. 1 out. Interesting series beginning tonight out at Chase Field in Arizona. Of course, that's where they'll play the All-Star game this year. A couple of teams having very good years. The Florida Marlins are 9 games over 500. And the streaking Arizona Diamondbacks have won 12 out of 13, including their last 6. And they are the surprise leaders in the National League West going into play tonight. A half a game better than the Giants, who've already won earlier today. The Arizona looked mighty good against the Reds. They beat them 4 out of 6 times. Lucroy on the ground to rolling. 2 out.
Hey, Reds fans, if you're in the restaurant industry, let JTM Food Group help you with great tasting products for your menu. Inspired solutions, better results. JTM. Travis Wood looking for a nice, easy inning here. After you have a prolonged inning in the 5th, give up 3 runs, you'd love to have the nice, easy 1-2-3.
And the man he's trying to retire to make that happen is Yuniesky Betancourt, whom he's retired twice on a pair of fly balls to Johnny Gomes in left field. Third pitch of the night being thrown by Wood, and it's fouled out of play. 2 balls and a strike. Two and two. Broken bat roll to Giannis. And Wood got that 1-2-3 inning. Good bounce back frame for the Reds left-hander. Reds come to bat in the last of the 6th with a 2-run lead. Back to the Coors Light 6th inning. Now it's time for the Coors Light freeze cam. Johnny Gomes, a nice play out in left field on a ball that carried a lot further than we thought. Chris, I thought you made a really good point. You know, the people who say that Gomes is a bad outfielder are people that never watch him. Johnny Gomes is a much better than average defensive player, at least from what we've seen.
Well, you remember when he spent most prior to Cincinnati, when he spent most of his time in the major leagues, he was a DH in Tampa. So having not played in the outfield, I think a lot of people simply assume that here we have a DH from the American League coming over to the Reds, and he's going to end up playing left field for us. And I think he's a much better outfielder than Adam Dunn was. He's not giving you the 40 home runs a year that Dunn did, but he's a good outfielder. He tells me that a lot of the minor league teams that he played on, he played center field and was oftentimes the fastest guy in the club. He's an athlete.
Well, you got to look at our Coors Light freeze cam, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. Jay Bruce to lead it off. What a night it's been already for Bruce, as he just continues what has been by far and away the best month of his major league career, and has been the best month of any player in the National League. Fly ball left field. That's the first time they've retired Jay Bruce tonight.
Now, this is the time of night where it's awfully tough for outfielders to pick the ball up. It goes up into the sky, a little bit hazy up here right now, not quite dark, not light enough, so this is where infielders need to point to the sky to make sure their outfielders never lose track of the ball that goes up into the air.
Johnny Gomes, a sac fly RBI to left field in the second inning. Swing and a miss. And then doubled and scored on the base hit ball by Paul Yanish in the fourth. To think on what this Reds offense will look like if Johnny Gomes could begin to swing the bat like he did most of last year. Goodness, what a lift that would be for this team.
Well, you know, though, Gomes is very consistent from year to year in his inconsistency, if that makes any sense. He's the kind of guy that, you know, he gets so hot for a short period of time, he carries the ball club, and then he cools off equally as cold. And he'll give you about 3.5 to 4 months of really good baseball a year, but you almost have to, you know, go with the other party. And you hope that the rest of your offensive club is swinging the bat good. He hit the ball hard 2 times tonight. That time he just happened to strike out, but it looks like it's coming around a little bit for him. I'll tell you one thing he does not do is give up.
Well, you're right about that.
I mean, he is after it every day.
Sergio Mitre has come in and really calmed things down. The Reds have hit some balls hard off Mitre, but the bottom line is he's retired all 5 batters he's faced so far.
Well, he's not overpowering, but he's got nice control of his fastball, and he can dial at that slider just about any time he needs it.
Ryan Hannigan 0 for 2 tonight, a pair of ground balls to third.
That one probably more of a curveball. I think he kind of spikes his curveball, took a look inside his glove and saw that index finger all crooked, trying to dig the fingernail into the seam. Here it comes again.
Play still 1-2 to Hannigan. Two and 2 to Hannigan. Reds got a triple by Bruce, a sac fly run batted in from Gomes in the second. They scored 4 times in the fourth, highlighted by a 3-run home run by Jay Bruce. Paul Giannis also knocked in a run. The Brewers got their 3 runs in the top of the 5th inning, and here we are in the last of the 6th. And a Tapper wide of third, and we'll do it again at 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now Jose Arredondo is throwing in the Reds bullpen. Paul Giannis is right around the 95 pitch mark in the game here tonight. Or I beg your pardon, Travis Wood, as Paul Giannis waits in the on-deck circle. But Arredondo looks like he's throwing to come into the game. We'll see. Although Wood is not sitting there with the look of a guy coming out of the game. Does he?
Pretty good poker face.
Mitre's spot is due up second when the Brewers come to bat in the 7th inning.
Well, this is a big game to win for the Reds. And I mean, you always say that about the first game of a series, but you're coming off of a miserable road trip and you're facing their top 2 pitchers tomorrow and the next day. Greinke and then Markham.
Two delivery. And a line into center. And that was trapped by Gomez. Ought to be a base hit by Hannigan.
Nice effort, though. I mean, he did not hesitate at all, Carlos Gomez, thinking he's going to pick the pocket of Ryan Hannigan on that sinking line drive, and nearly does it. You play shallow here at Great American Ballpark because anything over your head is going to be a home run. There's 2 schools of thought when you see that. I mean, he's got a lot of speed, and of course he wants to make a great play, but with 2 outs and nobody on, he could have turned that into a triple. And sometimes it's better just to give them the 2-out single and give your pitcher a lot better chance to get out of the inning. That's where they sit right now.
Number 8 hitter Paul Giannis, and what he does here at the plate could well determine the future of Travis Wood remaining in this game. Should he keep the inning alive, the Reds probably take Wood out of the on-deck circle and bring him back to the dugout. Should Giannis end the inning? We'll wait and see. Paul struck out in the 2nd inning. He had a run-scoring single to left center, stole a base in the 4th. And he is singled again into left center, cut off by Braun. So Wood indeed is brought back to the dugout, and making his way with the helmet on and bat in hand up to the plate is Fred Lewis. Kroger and the Reds are proud to team up to offer a great value this year. Check out concession stands throughout the ballpark for the Kroger Meal Deal, which includes a full-size adult hot dog, a bag of chips, a 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, Chex Mix, all for just $7. So Travis Wood, 2nd straight game, he goes 6 and allows 3. He did so his last start in Philadelphia. Surrenders 7 hits in the game, all 3 of the runs earned runs. Struck out 2 and did not walk a batter all night.
Well, as it stands right now, Travis Wood, that is the 5th quality start he has given the Reds in the month of May.
Yeah, he's really coming around.
You know, same way he did last year. Did not make the team out of spring training. Went down to the minor leagues. Had a miserable month of April. But by the time the Reds called him up in late May, he was dealing. And he's back on track right now.
Right now, big chance for Lewis. He bats with 2 on, 2 out, and a 2-run lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning, and it's ball 1 low from Mitra.
Well, it doesn't look like they want to throw him a fastball. That was a first pitch changeup. They're really shifting on Fred Lewis. They've got the shortstop just about right behind second base.
I am very surprised at this defensive alignment. Now, we haven't seen a ton of Fred Lewis, but what we have seen is this a guy who can really drive the ball into left center field.
Well, the balls that you see him hit to left center field are fastballs, and evidently they're thinking we're going to throw him off speed stuff right here, and he's going to roll over on it and pull him.
2-0 to Fred Lewis. That's exactly what he would have done right there had it stayed fair. There's a sinking fastball, and he rolled over top of it.
Got to get a little better pitch than that on a 2-0 count. Especially when you're a pinch hitter and you're in control. I mean, that's when you go up there and you just shrink the strike zone as small as you can and say, if it's not in this zone, I'm not hacking. But he's got capability of hitting the ball very hard.
Handing it at second, Giannis at first, and a bouncing ball back up through the middle into center field to him. That'll bring in the runner from second base. Throw to the plate, not nearly in time. They throw behind Lewis, and it's off the glove, and another run will score. So the Reds go from a 2-run lead to a 4-run lead on a big hit by Lewis, and in sloppy defense from the Brewers.
How about a little 2-out lightning? Fly ball, strikeout, single, single. A base hit up the middle by Lewis, and then let the Brewers toss the ball around and score another run. What an odd play right here. Big hopper, a lot of overspin right there. He hits it where the ship doesn't cover. The throw here goes to the plate, and really shouldn't have gone to the plate, but they've got Lewis way off the bag at first with Ricky Weeks covering, and he comes down without the baseball. So that enables Paul Giannis to come around, and Ron Renicki's got to be thinking, what the heck is going on out there?
Here is charged to Weeks. Well, what a big base hit that is for Fred Lewis off the Reds bench.
The Reds pinch hitters have been better than anybody in the National League all year long. I mean, by a long shot.
Now Heisey struck out 3 times in a game tonight, and now he's hit by a pitch. That's 4 straight Reds that have reached base on Mitre after he retired the first 2. Want to get him in the elbow?
Looks like it got him right on the elbow. Hurt, sounded like it. Ouch.
It's on that phone line to the Brewer bullpen. And now you got a chance to really drive the nail a little further in. Look at that thing already. Brandon 0 for 3, hit the ball very hard his last time up to the right fielder Hart. Ball 1. To Weeks, and the inning is over, but a 2-out rally, and the Reds score 2 and lead by 4 at the end of 6. brought to you by AT&T, by Cincinnati Children's, who ranks 3rd in the nation on U.S. News and World Report's honor roll for best children's hospitals in America, by your Cincinnati, Northern Kentucky Honda dealers, and by Wendy's. You know when it's real. Reds 7, Brewers 3 in the first of 3 from Great American Ballpark in downtown Cincinnati. Happy Memorial Day to all of you. You've had a wonderful weekend. Reds back at home to kick off not only this 3-game set, but a 9-game homestand. Dodgers come in for 3, then the Cubs for 3 as Jose Arredondo comes in here in the 7th to replace Travis Wood. He was part of your CBTS Tech Talk before the game tonight.
He was. He was talking to me a little bit about how he throws that split finger fastball, which is his go-to pitch. He also throws an overhand breaking ball, kind of a curveball. But he's got big hands, long fingers, Arredondo does, and a guy that he can really cram that baseball back in between his middle finger and his index finger and get a nice tumbling spin out of it as he throws it with the same action as the fastball.
Well, you're not lying about the size of his hands or the length of his fingers. I mean, when he was holding that baseball, you said it best, it looks like a golf ball.
Yeah.
Of course, the Reds signed Arredondo knowing he would not pitch 1 game all of last year after undergoing Tommy John surgery performed by Dr. Timothy Kremchek. Shallow right field, and Brandon will run it down off the bat of Gomez, who homered his last time up. 1 out.
Yeah, I think the Reds kind of learned a lesson about that a few years ago when they had Ryan Dempster as a starter, then a reliever for the Reds, and he had elbow problems 1 year, so they ended up having him have Tommy John surgery. They rehabbed him, and they didn't make much of an offer to him, and that's when the Cubs came in and said, hey, we'll give you $500,000 and you come with us. Well, he rehabbed a little bit more. Next thing you know, he's pitching for the Cubs and, you know, around the top of their rotation now. So I always thought that that was a great idea, and especially given the fact that Tommy John surgeries are those that if it's done right and rehab right, you will come back, if not as good as before, but even better.
Of course, that's another surgery performed by Dr. Kremchek right here in Cincinnati and all the folks out at Beacon Orthopedics.
So many players from around both leagues come and consult with Dr. Kremchek whether they get operated on here or not. Most of them do, but I mean, this guy just really does nothing but shoulders and elbows.
Well, he did my knee. Of course, I'm not an athlete. I just broke down. Greg Counsell, the pinch hitter. Not much playing time this year for Counsell. Brought back for another year. Been around a long time. We've talked about him through the years. Played baseball at Notre Dame and has had a chance to be involved in a lot of big moments. There's a base hit into left field. Counsell with a 1-out single, and we go back to Ricky Weeks. And we remind you that, again, the Johnny Bench, baseball's greatest catcher exhibit, presented by Dinsmore and Scholl, is still going on over at the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum. So stop on by. You will love it. So where Johnny just got out of the hospital.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, for a couple of days last week. Understand he's doing better.
Good.
Nothing serious, but a little bit of a scare, so glad to hear he's okay. And JB's one of our favorites.
Always nice to visit with Johnny Bench when he comes down to spring training. He's down there for at least a couple of weekends every spring training and sits up there and watches the ball games. I'll tell you what, you talk about a guy that knows a lot of baseball.
Boy,
man, oh man. Sit next to him, you learn a lot.
Is he excited about the 2 young catchers in the Reds organization? And why wouldn't you be? specifically Devin Mesoraco and Yasmani Grandal. He was out with them in spring training this year. I mean, he couldn't stop talking about either one of them. And there's a balk on Arredondo.
I did not see what he did. Let's see if he started and stopped. And looks like he started his upper body and then stepped off the mound. Well, these umpires are right on it.
Two and one on Ricky Weeks. 0 for 3 in the game tonight. His paw fouled out to Votto, has flied out to right and flied out to center. Reds with a 4-run lead, but a long way to go. We're just in the 7th inning. And now Arredondo has fallen behind Weeks at 3 balls and a strike. Reds have left-hander Bill Bray getting loose in the pen. Pretty safe bet he's getting ready for one guy and one guy only, and that would be Fielder. His spot still 3 away. Weeks helping Arredondo there, chasing a high fastball, 3-2.
I don't think Ricky's ever seen a high fastball he wouldn't like to swing at. He may not hack at all of them, but he sure wants to. To the count. There's ball 4. And all of a sudden the Brewers are knocking on the door with the heart of their lineup coming up. Now, no Corey Hart. He was removed for the game. You may remember, for a pinch runner back in the 5th inning. Had 1 hit and 3 at bats. Nigel Morgan replaced him on the bases and stayed in the game to play right field, so he bats now for the first time. Morgan on the disabled list for nearly 3 full weeks. Ran into the catcher in Pittsburgh and injured his right quadricep. He's also been on the 15-day disabled list. Right after coming back from the first injury, he fractured the left middle finger on a bunt attempt. Was on the DL for another 3 weeks. Ball and a strike. On the ground. There's one. And that's a double play to get out of the inning. Beautiful turn by Giannis after the feed from Phillips. And they double up the speedy Morgan to end the Milwaukee threat. A 7-3 lead, middle of the 7th. In special recognition of the military, USAA now presents the singing of God Bless America.
The men and women of our armed forces. And at this time, please help us honor these brave men and women and all of our veterans of service on this Memorial Day holiday, and welcome Naval Officer Reuben Miner as he leads us in the singing of God Bless America.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the ocean, white with foam. God bless bless America, our home sweet home. God bless America, our home sweet home.
And win some great prizes. Plus, you could end up on Reds Live right after the game on Fox Sports Ohio. All the fun happens at the Holy Grail Banks, right across from the Great American Ballpark on Joe Nuxall Way. That's right across the street from the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum.
Maybe you're on your way to that Johnny Bench exhibit. You stop off and see that on the way to the Holy Grail. Tim Dillard, right-hander, comes in. That was his last outing against the Washington Nationals last week.
They'll be facing 3, 4, and 5 in the Reds order. Votto, Rolen, and Bruce. Reds with a 7-3 lead.
Ron Renicky has no left-handers in his bullpen. Got a couple of guys who are on the disabled list, left-handed pitchers. Manny Parra, Zach Braddock. I thought we may see former Red Daniel Ray Herrera in this series. They did not make that roster move. Of course, they picked Herrera off waivers from the Reds when he was taken off the 40-man roster about a week or so ago.
I don't think Votto thought much of that call right there by Jeff Kellogg. He rings him up on a pitch I'm sure Votto believed was not only low but also outside. But it's an out to begin the 7th. You be the judge.
I'll go with Votto on that one.
Now Scott Rolen. Strike one. Nick Massett gets loose in the Reds bullpen. Bill Bray was up early. Good breaking ball there by Dillard. Rolen 1 of 3 in the game. Singled and scored back in the 4th inning. Hit the ball hard, lining out to Ryan Braun, ending the 5th. Swing and a miss. Back-to-back strikeouts for Dillard. Here in the 7th.
Pretty impressive so far for Tim Dillard. Young man that was taken back in 2002 by the Milwaukee Brewers in the 34th round, and he has spent the last 5 years on and off in the Pacific Coast League pitching for Nashville.
Jay Bruce a triple, a run scored in the 2nd inning, a 3-run home run to right center field in the 4th, and flied out to left in the 6th. 12 home runs, 32 runs batted in for Jay Bruce this month. He's a National League leader now with 16 home runs and has 43 runs batted in. 43. Wow. The American League leader is Adrian Gonzalez. There's a bullet that just eats up Betancourt into center field.
I mean, even with the shift and having the shortstop right there in the spot where that ball was hit. I mean, a wicked line drive that sinks right at the feet of Betancourt and nearly takes his uniform off. Man, is he hitting the ball hard.
So at 3 RBIs tonight, Jay Bruce has gone right by the man standing to his left, Prince Fielder, for the National League lead in runs batted in. Fielder had 42 going into play tonight. But Bruce has leapfrogged him with that 3-run home run back in the 4th inning. Of course, if the Reds could put together a big inning here in the 7th or the 8th and give Bruce one more chance to bat, he would be a double shy of batting for the cycle. But Morgan will collect the fly ball from Gomes, and that will end the 7th inning. We march on to the 8th on this Memorial Day weekend across this great country of ours, and the Reds have a 7-3 lead. Time for the Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. Yet another this month for Jay Bruce. Leads all National Leaguers in virtually every major offensive category here in the month of May, and he adds to it tonight with a triple, a home run, a single, 3 RBIs, 2 more runs scored. And tonight has become the leader in home runs and RBIs for the National League this year. Chris Heisey moves from center field over to left field. Bruce Stubbs enters as a defensive replacement in center. And Nick Massett takes over on the mound.
We showed you a stat earlier of how many innings that the bullpen has pitched in the last month or so. Even the last 10 days they've been overworked with all the extra inning games, including that 19-inning marathon in Philadelphia. But the back end of the bullpen, when the Reds have had the lead, has been very solid. Arredondo, Bassett, Cordero, overall done a pretty good job. And especially Bill Bray.
Three, 4, 5 in the Brewers lineup. Braun, Fielder, McGee. Braun 1 of 3 and an RBI double his last time up. Told you the Cardinals have already lost earlier today, handed a 7-3 decision against the Giants. Cardinals coming off a very good road trip out west and opened a homestand today. Reds will get a look at the Giants on their next road trip, but we're not thinking about going on the road anytime soon. Reds will be home for a week and a half. 3-1. Bassett over his last 14 outings has worked 13 1/3 innings, struck out 15, and has an ERA of 0.6. And he just shattered the bat of Ryan Braun. Of course, a lot of the kids, most of the kids, are still not out of school. There are some school districts that get out right before the Memorial Day weekend, but most of them still have a little bit of time either this week and even drifting into early next week. Those kids right there don't want to hear about school. Not tomorrow. Braun gone swinging on a fastball up around his neck to begin the 8th. Come for the Reds, stay for more fun. Make it a home run weekend. Visit the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum. Prepare your trip at CincinnatiUSA.com. Dodgers will be in town this coming weekend. And plenty of tickets available for this entire homestand. Night games tomorrow and Wednesday against the Brewers after an off day Thursday. Friday night, a 4:10 start Saturday afternoon against the Dodgers. 1:10 on Sunday. And then a couple of night games followed by a day game next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday afternoon against the Cubbies. .5-mile-per-hour gas right at the belt on the inside corner to Fielder. 1-2. That is one strong guy up there with that bat in hand. Look at the arms on that guy. And that one ripped into right center field. It'll go to the wall. Fielder a 3-hit night in 4 at-bats. That's his first extra base hit. And he's a 1-out base runner here in the Milwaukee 8th.
Now, the 2 extra runs that Reds put on in the 6th inning, very big. You've got a 4-run lead. You can make a mistake to Prince Fielder. And he just hits a laser beam of a line drive to right center field. Tell you what, these Brewers, all of them, are seeing the ball very well right now. The way they played back in Milwaukee.
Got a slide, springs to his feet, and throws out McGee. 2 away.
Well, nice play by Giannis right here. What really helps him is he goes down low when he goes to get that backhand. A lot of players go and they try to reach down almost when they're completely upright. He slides into it, and he's already planting his right foot, getting ready to throw that ball to first base. Of course, he's got one of the better arms among shortstops in the league.
So now the catcher, Jonathan Lucroy, 0 for 3 tonight. But of course, tonight really still continues a pattern which has plagued the Brewers all year long. I mean, Fielder has 3 hits tonight, but you look at the rest of the guys in their regular lineup. They scored 2 of their 3 runs tonight from really very unlikely sources.
You're right.
They've gotten a home run by Gomez down in the 8-hole. It's only his 4th homer of the year. They get a pinch hit home run by Josh Wilson off the bench. Fielder has 3 hits. But everybody else, it is a pattern where the Brewers have just knocked the cover off the ball at home. And they have really struggled, at least the first couple of months, hitting the ball on the road. Tonight will actually increase their average a little bit. They were averaging 2.8 runs per game away from Miller Park, where they have only won 8 out of 25 games on the road. Wanting to make sure on his 0-2 pitch. If you're wondering about the Reds' all-time record for home runs in any month, not just the month of May, but any month, that belongs to Greg Vaughn and Frank Robinson. Vaughn hit 14 home runs in September of '99. That's when the Reds were trying to march their way into the playoffs. Frank Robinson hit 14 in August of 1962. Vaughn swinging Lucroy, and that's all for the Brewers in the 8th. And of course, Jay Bruce clubbed his 12th of this month earlier tonight.
Columbus, Ohio for Reds Live. Hear from Dusty Baker first before anyone else and get the most comprehensive highlights of your Cincinnati Reds. That's Reds Post-Game Live, brought to you by Kings Honda in the Kings Auto Mall. Visit KingsHondaUSA.com.
Were you trying to imitate me there? Or was that like a Gary Owen impersonation?
How'd I do?
What was that? I mean, because there are a lot of guys around that imitate me. I mean, the guy who the biggest kick out of him is the guy who runs all the video for the San Diego Padres. It's actually very, very entertaining stuff. There's a ground ball foul wide of third. In fact, every time I see Trevor Hoffman, which now we don't see him much anymore, but last year with Milwaukee and all those years in San Diego, he would just wait in that clubhouse. I come down there to say hello to Bruce Bochy or Bud Black or whomever, and walk right in there and bam. Down a hall somewhere. He started doing the imitation, and then Trevor Hoffman would he'd belly laugh. He couldn't even say hello. He'd be laughing so hard.
You mean the imitation is really turning on your announcer voice?
Well, I don't know. I mean, my wife accuses me of sounding like this all the time, so what do I know about it? Francisco Cordero cranking it up down in the bullpen. Of course, he's one of the few Reds that has not logged heavy innings. There's a fly ball into shallow center field off the bat of Hannigan. Dillard's come in and done a nice job. He's allowed one hit and now 1 1/3.
I'm not sure how long this bullpen can go, though, without a left-hander down there. I know a lot of managers that say, hey, just give me guys with stuff. They can get lefties and righties out both. But there's something to be said for that one inning or one batter left-hander, that loogie, that left only one guy.
Of course, a guy who, I'm not going to say he was the one who originated it, because certainly he would never do that. But Mike Scioscia is a guy. I mean, there were many seasons there in that Angels bullpen where they'd have one of the best bullpens in the American League, where Mike Scioscia said once, he said it 1,000 times, what you just said. If I don't have a left-hander that can get anybody out, then I want right-handers who can get left-handers out. And, of course, Ron Renneke was right alongside of Mike Scioscia there for the better part of a decade in Anaheim. But I'm with you. Lefties don't see lefties all that frequently, and there are very few left-handed batters that have good numbers against left-handed pitchers.
Yeah, and, if you can get one of those left-handers that specialize in getting the lefties out, I mean, you can bring him in just to face one batter, the toughest guy in the opposition, and just set his timing off a little bit. Joey Votto, though, he kind of excels at hitting left-handers, and in this month, Jay Bruce has hit him about as well as anybody, including tonight.
Ganesh gone on strikes.
Well, you're right about Dillard. He's impressive because he's throwing, he drops down and gives you a really low arm angle. For a right-handed hitter, it looks like it's probably coming from behind your left ear somewhere. But he's throwing a changeup from down there. There aren't all that many right-handed sidearmers that can throw a changeup like that. Maybe that's just a breaking ball. That's a breaking ball that didn't have a lot of a break on it. It's a slow 75, 76 mile an hour curveball. A sidewinder.
First at bat of the night for Drew Stubbs. And he's down a strike. You were talking about Joey Votto. Man, don't look now, but you go back to the start of last year, the 2010 season, with a minimum of 200 plate appearances. The top two left-handed hitters in the major leagues are Joey Votto and Jay Bruce. How about that?
That's amazing.
That's against left-handed pitching.
Right.
I mean, there was a time where Jay Bruce looked like, he didn't have much of a chance against lefties. But, boy, you go back to the start of last year, and he keeps getting better and better. All right, 1, 2, 3, go the Reds. We head to the ninth. 7-3 Cincinnati. Morrell hot dog play of the game. And again, it's who else but number 4.
Any way you look at it, unbelievable. I'll tell you, I think you just get so spoiled of watching Brandon Phillips on a day-in, day-out basis that anything hit to the right side, you expect to be gloved. Start sticking somebody else out there and see what gets through. Hopefully nothing gets through on this guy tonight, Francisco Cordero. 9 for 11 in save opportunity, still lower in run average.
Wishing a save chance in Philadelphia.
Yep.
Gave up the home run to Ryan Howard.
Well, he's got a little bigger lead with which to work here tonight. Not a save opportunity with a 4-run lead.
Line to the center field, a base hit by Betancourt. Now Carlos Gomez. Reds 3 outs away from an opening game win here over the Brewers, and they would gain ground on the 2 teams in front of them in the Central Division. Cardinals having lost earlier today to the Giants 7-3. Reds began play a season high 5 back. Got a chance to get it to 4. And this should be the first out here in the top of the 9th inning. It is. And really, that's the way you stop and look at things. Outside of having 4 or 5 of your real core players and big-time players go down for an extended period of time, which, good Lord willing, won't happen and obviously hasn't happened. But, I mean, for the Reds, as much as they have struggled, especially on this last road trip, losing 8 out of 10, 10 out of 12 overall going back to the final 2 games of the last homestand. So to lose 10 out of 12 games, and then if they nail this one down, to still be only 4 behind when the 2 teams in front of you have basically played off the charts for better than a month. The Brewers and the Cardinals. No reason for panic. Concern for some areas? Well, there's no doubt about that. That one's popped up by Kotze, and then he trips over the pack. And the Brewers are down to their final out. What do you think about all that?
It gets me thinking really about what Dusty Baker says, and it's an interesting philosophy different managers have about how you start winning and what it means. But his goal is to get above 500 to the point where you can have a slide like this and still be either above 500 or right at 500. Now you put a push on again and you get back up to 500, you're going to have some rough spots. No one's going to go undefeated throughout the rest of the year, but that was the advantage of the Reds playing pretty good baseball before that slide.
That's where the Reds were 8 games over 500 before they had that slide. And then a loss last night put them right at 500, trying to get back a game over with one more out to go tonight. They let the runner take second base. Look at that. Dad with a little angel in his arms, her first Reds game. Brought her glove, has a baseball in there, and to celebrate a win. Reds ought to give her season tickets. Here's the 0-1. 0-2. Travis Wood, the pitcher of record for the Reds. Chris Narveson for Milwaukee. Two on Weeks. And of course, this is not a save chance for Cordero, who still is one save away from 300 in his major league career. Win the opener. Final count of 7-3. They have now beaten the Brewers 6 of 7 on the year. And on this Memorial Day, the Reds celebrate a victory, gaining ground on both the Brewers and the Cardinals in the National League Central. So the Reds now are 4 games behind the front-running Cardinals. And they're a game and a half back of Milwaukee with 2 more to go in this series. And we'll have both games for you here on Fox Sports Ohio. We'll be back with more in a moment.